Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. How have you been?
Very fine, yes. Um, I was just on vacation for 3 weeks and just returned last week. So these are very, yeah, interesting days, so to speak, because the album release is right around the corner, and yeah, everything is kind of interesting. This is also why we do this just us two. Ola is doing the lights together with Lutz, and therefore you have to live with that. It's just me.
Yeah, well, we can discuss a lot more about the themes then, I guess, than when Ole would be there. But anyway, you have been working on Generation of the Void for a few years now. I think the first time that we were really talking about the album was when you went on your tour and you stopped in Helsinki. So I think that was 2022.
Yes,
Um, so how does it feel to have it finally out?
very, very, very good. Very good. It's kind of weird because this has been such a long process. It was such a long process behind the record, and it was like on and off working on these kind of songs. And in the end, it's kind of weird to judge them because I already feel like I'm somewhat blind. Um, we tweaked really, literally everything out of these tunes, and I hope they're good. To me, they are, and I think to each and everyone in the band as well. Um, it's really, really, really interesting to finally work with these songs. We put out Liquid Morning and Clouded Frame in 2021, and we didn't expect that it might take us this long to finally get these songs out, but it feels great, and it feels like the I would say the giant leap that we always wanted to do after maybe King Delusion, because when we did Black Frost, it felt like this is a great record. Don't get me wrong, I'm proud of that very much. But when I look at Generation of the Void, this was maybe what we were aiming for even back then. But now we did it.
Do you think because obviously the release was kind of happening in the midst of the, aftershock of the pandemic, I guess, and war in Europe, war in the Middle East, like do you feel like that, especially that might have had an impact on what the album is sounding right now?
It's kind of weird to say because I have to say not on purpose. Um, I always try to write some lines down and to collect ideas. I even did it yesterday and wrote down some lines for whatever future record, whatever. Um, and looking back at these songs now, it feels like they are somewhat influenced by that because uh, we finalized most of the songs back in 2023, and this was like the first year after our fully packed touring year 2022, and I think the whole pandemic situation all over the world, I have to say, because we also played the States, so we had an idea of what was going on there as well. Um, that affected me as a lyricist a lot, finalizing these lyrics to become the song's lyrics. Because at first these are just rough ideas, or I wouldn't even say poems, it sounds too big. It's just hints here and there and some ideas how to express my emotion when I am in a certain mood and stuff. But I think it had a much larger impact than I um, would have said at first. If you would have asked me this in 2023, I would say I would have said no. But looking back at these songs now with another, let's say, distance, it's obvious, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess there is a bit of a post-apocalyptic feel to it as well, in a way, to some of the
Yeah,
songs at least. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it is, it is, and somewhat on purpose. I think when we recorded the vocals for Liquid Morning and Clouded Frame, and also Glass Bleeding, that is on the record as well, we recorded this also before the other tunes. We headed over to Denmark, and I heard the first draft of the song that is now Overcast. And this is maybe the most post-apocalypse we ever sounded. But in a weird way, it it now all makes sense. I yeah, it
Mm.
makes even more sense now. Also, I'm just talking about the pandemic. You also made up the war. This is what started in 2022 when we were playing the States. I mean, there was a lot of turmoil between Russia and Ukraine before, but was when Putin attacked, and yeah, this was a tough one. Being on a completely different continent, why we still were in close contacts to our friends and relatives in Europe. It was really weird. So yeah, I think I didn't make this up, but this also had a huge impact on that record. Yes.
Well, you mentioned that this is what you also wanted Black Frost to sound like if you would have written it back now, I guess. And it's also your first album in like 6 years, if I counted correctly. So, what are the what are the new kind of inspirations or experiences that shaped the generation of the Void?
It's it's really hard to make out because it's such a long time in between these two records, and I also want to make this up. I didn't want to change a thing when it comes to Black Frost, but what we really wanted to achieve with this new stuff was creating more dynamics, creating songwriting that is a lot more diverse, and also playing around with different sounds and styles, not only on the instrumental side of things, because we incorporated clean vocals into King Delusion and also Black Frost. Maybe a little more on Black Frost than on King Delusion with tracks like, I don't know, Fear Them, Tears of the Eyeless and stuff. But now we were really like aiming for the right melodies to make the voice also a melody instrument in Nailed to Obscurity's music, and that was still very newish. And we touched a lot of new feels, and this also, I don't want to use the term forced, but in some ways, yeah, there was some sort of pressure to find my singing voice when it comes to clean vocals, because back in those days, I just sang these lines, and now I try to find out who am I as a singer, and what are the lines that I can sing. So this also had a huge impact on the sound of Generation of the Void, on the songs on Generation of the Void, and on the dynamics. Because now I think we are, I would say, a very dynamic band as a whole.
Mm.
It we maybe strayed away a bit from the melodic death metal roots of the band, or the doom death roots, whatever. I think it has always been both worlds there. But I think we kept a certain Nail to Obscurity sound, but touched a lot of new feels in every way. Also, when it comes to some, I would say, soundscapes in the background, Ole really uh, learned a lot of the past years and incorporated that into the songwriting as well, and enriched these songs and made them bigger. I think this is not just a so-called big production. It's
Mm.
not just we let Jacob Hansen do his fantastic thing. Of course we did, but there were already some I would say some soundscapes in the back, like I said, that already made these songs bigger. And this is also something that where we touched a lot of new feels. So this is a record that when I look at these songs now feels like like a, like someone is saying, of course it took you this long to create these songs because we changed, I would say, so much without losing our identity as a band.
Was that like sort of a difficult thing, or is that something that comes naturally when you're in a band to have that identity, but to change every like just thing that crossed my mind?
Yeah, I think we always wanted to sound like Nailed to Obscurity because this is an achievement. But of course, we sound also like the bands that influenced us. You can hear uh, some spots where you can obviously make out who are like um, the fathers of Nailed to Obscurity music wise. But I think there is, especially when Volker and Ole play together, there is something, I don't know, magical, unique about that. This is something that I realized immediately before I joined the band, when I was just looking at the band as a fan. And this was something that I even more realized when I was already a member of the band and staying together with these lads in the same rehearsal room and hearing them exchanging ideas and stuff. It's in their playing. I don't know. It's something when you can immediately say this is Nailed to Obscurity, and I think this is when I would say it's the guitars, the sound, the way they play together. It's very unique, and I yeah, I still love this even now as a member of the band and stuff. But I love it.
Yeah,
It's just great.
you're still a fan.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, it's kind of weird because yeah, I don't know. I don't want to kill myself here, but I always feel like I'm just there, the dude with the cool friends. But yeah.
No, no, I'm sure that people don't see you like that, but that's funny. Yeah, so also in the track by track of Generation of the Void, you also mentioned, that it's about the world and global politics and social crisis that shaped that song. So I was wondering, the idea of a void could be emotional, societal, political, but what does it represent for you personally?
It's it's kind of weird to answer this because I always try to deny answering that because
Yeah, I
yeah,
know.
but to me personal, it's I would say I don't know if someone can understand that, but there is this moment where when you feel like you're falling into nothingness emotionally, when you feel like there's nothing to grab for. And this can be about the situation in the world, political, um, or from a social critical perspective. But this can also be like a very tiny thing in my regular life where I have this feeling of now I'm just falling down into nothingness. And And this is for me the void. It's a hole without a bottom. It's a bottomless hole, and I'm just falling, trying to come out there, but there is nothing to get hold. This is, yeah, it's it's hard to describe this any better, but maybe someone understands this. There are these moments, and yeah, I can't describe it any better. It's just this feeling of falling into nothingness for
Yeah,
whatever reason. It can be something completely small that causes that, but yeah, this is to me the void, and
yeah.
I yeah.
Yeah, well, it's also called Generation of the Void, so there's a whole bunch of people who probably feel like that. But do you feel like the influence of social media and stuff like that makes it that people maybe can be a bit less happy or feel more empty inside than before?
Yeah, this is the thing. This is like the paradox of social media. You feel interconnected with the whole world, with so many people that you wouldn't even reach out to in your regular life because they are so far away. And this is something so great. And on the other hand, you are judged by people that don't know you in person, that have never even talked to you. They just see your posts, and you're always presenting only one side of you. If you, I don't know, look at a certain profile by, I don't know, by an artist, this um this woman or man is just presenting his art, but it's just one side of this person. But people are very opinionating. They
Hmm.
are feeling they have the feeling that they know this person, and if this person does something that doesn't fit um their picture about this artist, whatever, they are dis, dis, they're pretty rude and tough, and so this is why I feel people are connected and disconnected at the same time. Um, it's very hard to describe, but I think social media can be very, very um, uh, emotion consuming. Yeah,
Hmm.
I would not only blame social media, but it is like that. And this is also a weird thing. You feel more, I think people think more about their own uniqueness and themselves, which is a good thing. Mental health and stuff. But they are like irritated by what they see on social media, in the internet, in on YouTube, whatever. And and sometimes this misguides you, these rabbit holes, whatever. And then the positive side of things, like thinking about who you are in this world, where is your spot, all these important questions, they are you get your answer from somewhere else, and this is misleading you. Yeah. So there's so many positive things and so many negative things, but for I think so many people they lead to, I would say, dead end. It sounds a little hard, but yes. And yeah, like you said, it's maybe one point why some people, I wouldn't say each and every one, but some people lose their abilities of being like um, empathetic and also, yeah, really emotional, like from from your inner self. Yeah.
Yeah, let's zoom in on some unreleased songs. One of the songs I wanted to talk about is Echo Attempt. It's the longest song on the album, and I also really like it. Is there anything you can tell fans about the songwriting process or the lyrics or something like that?
Yeah, I think this is I would say, the epic of the record. Um, this is a song that took us very long to write in full because there are parts that wrote itself, and there are others that were tweaked to fit in, um, and to enrich the song. And in the end, it was this long. It wasn't planned this way, but it's like a journey. And this is also why I wrote these lyrics. It's somewhat like science fiction, like you're maneuvering through the stars, but you can't see anything, and every star is destroyed. So if you're a bat, for example, that is one of the pictures in the song, you can't echolocate because there is nothing where your sounds, voices, whatever can echo because it's the nothingness. It's also the void in a way. Um, and this is this tiny something, this tiny bat, and its journey through nothingness, and the all the, I would say, problems that you can experience when you try to maneuver through nothingness because you can't echolocate, you can't grab for something. It's just there's literally nothing, no light. How can you find your way out there? This is, yeah, maybe this is also I didn't think about this so far, but maybe this is also the very fitting with the album's title. Yeah.
Yeah. How like most of your lyrics are very well, you didn't want to say the word poem, but I'll say it that they're very poetic and they use very like I guess cinematic language somehow. Where does that come from? Do you read a lot? Do you watch a lot of movies, or is it just who you are?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think I'm a lazy reader these days, but I read a lot, not wrote, I read a lot when I was younger. So there's this, yeah, especially dystopian literature, and also I would say science fantasy had always a huge impact on me, but also social critical topics. So this is not the first time that I do this. When you look at the whole, I would say, my Nailed to Obscurity discography, because I wasn't the singer on Abyss, you can find also social critical stuff on all the records. So this is one inspiration, is of course that, but sometimes it's just how can I say this? Just listening to other people when I talk to them, and sometimes they say something that I keep with me in my mind, and then all of a sudden the picture grows, and I feel
Yeah.
like, yes, maybe this is useful to to write about, or useful as an inspiration. But also movies. Yes, I watched a lot of movies in the past. Today it's yeah, it's some serial dramas most of the time. Not that I enjoy all of them, but yeah, sometimes it comes from that. But I would say, I don't know, in a weird sense, that's me. I It's my filter when
Yeah.
I see something, hear something, whatever. Sometimes it's there and it clicks, and I feel this is worth a line in a song, and sometimes it feels like this is worth a whole song. Um, yeah, it's like Spirit Corrosion. It was at first it was just a title, and then I wrote um, just a story about a spirit that corrodes. Very obvious on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's just my experience hidden behind this picture.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that sometimes it's also about what people say. So is there a song on this record that was inspired by something somebody said to you?
Um, I have to think. There are a lot of parts, but one song in particular, it's a tough one. Um, it's such a wild mixture, you know? When I write a song, there's always a part that comes from someone else. Um, I I can say this about a song on Black Frost, but on Generation of the Void, I it's hard to say if there's one song in particular. Mm, I would say there is there are lines interconnected with some talks and chats I had with friends and with my family or with my friends in the band that led to a certain line, yes. But it's yeah, I can say, to be
Yeah.
honest.
What I also enjoyed is that the album starts with Glass Bleeding, which is a very heavy and dark song, but then the end is The Ides of Life. It's a bit more hopeful, so was it important to not end the album in the darkest way possible?
Um, in a sense, yes, because I think this is a quality that NAILED to Obscurity always had. Um, even if the lyrics sound very dark, sometimes it's the music that makes it more lighter, and sometimes it's a little sparkle in the lyrics that makes it lighter because I don't like the word depressing or the term depressing music. It shouldn't be depressing. It's melancholic. And I don't want to, maybe depressive people can relate to this, of course, but it shouldn't drag them down. It's music, it's art. It should be also entertaining. It sounds a little weird to me to say this about our music because it is um, deep stuff, music-wise and lyric-wise, but it should in the end be entertainment. And I like that we end the record on a lighter note because, like you said, Last Bleeding is like with the blast beats and stuff. It's a pretty hard one, and
Yeah.
and then yeah, the Ides of Life is like I think when you listen to the record, some people would say Allure is the ballad, but
Yeah.
I think the Ides of Life is also a ballad, even if it has harsh vocals. And this is what I like so much also about this track. It's a ballad with harsh vocals. It sounds so weird when you say it's a death metal ballad, but it is.
Yeah.
And but the ending, yeah, like you said, sets the tone of hope, and I think this is what everybody needs. So
Yeah.
we take the listener on a journey, and maybe they can relate to that because we are all living in this together, but there is hopefully a way out, and we will find this way, and we will find it together.
Yeah. Well, you also have your first headlining tour come up, so let's talk a tiny bit about that. Are you looking forward to it, and what can fans expect from the shows?
Yes, we're looking forward to this very, very much because it's the first tour that we're doing on our own terms. We can play as long as we want, and we can add as many songs as we want, which is a tough one, um, because it's something that is it's always hard to pick because we like all the tracks. Of course we do, but it's something um, that we look forward very much because we want to represent the whole discography of the band. And we can because this is our tour, so to speak. And I think it's a great package that we have there with Yoth Iria and Oak Ash and Thorn, which is also kind of cool to have great company. Looking forward to these lads as well, to meeting them and to seeing them live and stuff. Um, yeah, it's all pretty exciting. Like I think I don't know if I said this in the interview or before, but Ola and Lutz they're already arranging the lights for the tour, so we also look forward to present this production. We look forward to present Generation of the Void because it's not just the first headline tour, it's also the first tour in support of that record, and it should also represent 20 years of Nailed to Obscurity. So there's a lot to celebrate there. So yeah, it's pretty exciting looking at that. Yeah. Also the shows that we are playing in Greece and Turkey, that is also right around the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's see. Shame you're not coming to Finland this time, but I think that's pretty much it for my questions. Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with fans?
Um, we hope that we will play Finland very soon again because you have always been great to us. It's a great country for metal, but it has always been a great country for Nail to Obscurity's music as well. And yeah, let's see if there is a chance, maybe in 2026. Let's hope for this. And until then, just check out Generation of the Void, and I hope that you will like it. I think you won't be disappointed. And yeah, I think that's it.